So, you may have heard me talk about my stories a little bit, but I wanted to talk about them more properly. Give them some more love and respect. These stories, they are I love them. I love them. Um, so first let's talk about my main story. It's called Kingdoms. It's either probably a new adult or a young adult fantasy. I think it's contemporary. I am confused on the difference between contemporary and urban fantasy, so I'm I don't know, but it's definitely definitely kind of sort of set in modern times. This story um is one I would like to eventually self-publish. Um, it's about a demon named Satan who has been living on this other planet called Ayazuma for a couple thousand years. I think it was 2000. I'm pretty sure it was like 2000, but not exactly 2000. He did not want to be on this planet, but he did something in his younger years that made his parents be like, "You're the heir to our kingdom, and you need to practice ruling in case we die." Which, I mean, it would probably make more sense if his parents weren't immortal and the chances of them dying are slim. But, Satan is also the prince of a kingdom. Yeah, you already got that. His parents rule hell. But in this world, it's not just one hell. There's multiple hells because for every planet that has living people, there's there's the heavens that are above for the people that lived a good life and are rewarded, and then there's the hells that are underneath and below the planet's surface for the people that lived a bad life and who are being punished for it. And by bad, I mean like they did bad actions, not bad things happened to them. It's the actions and things they did. Um, anyway, back to my point. So Saiyan has been settled in on Aizuma. He still does not like it because it's not home. It's not the place he grew up. It's nothing like what he experienced as a kid, I guess. Um, anyway, he goes to his family's yearly reunion. I am back. I was interrupted. Anyways, he goes to his family's yearly reunion, and then some people, all dressed in black, hop into his family's palace and injure 9 of his 10 children. Yes, he has 10 children, don't ask. And also his ex-wife, who he also still lives with. They're on good terms, even though they're divorced. So like after that all happens and goes down, Satan is in the hospital pondering what the fuck is up, because his family is well liked in the Earthian hell, which is that's where his parents live. He doesn't live there anymore, like I said. Um, and attacks quite like that are very unusual for them. And he bolts up and is like, "Holy fuck! It's definitely my ex best friend and my ex girlfriend," despite very little explicitly saying that. He just was like, it's definitely them," to himself. And turns out he was right, and now he has to prevent them from taking over Ayazuma, even though he doesn't like Ayazuma that much, and he begins to unravel quite a few things. And that's where I'll leave you off with the story summary. A lot more happens than just that, because that's kind of just a summary of like chapter one, and yeah. And I also have I have two sequels after the first book and a bunch of spin-offs in the future, but I don't think you'll be seeing any of them very soon, anytime soon, except for one. My next story is called Keiko Kurumiya. The first book is called Keiko Kurumiya, The Cut-Face Woman. All other books are in development. I've barely even plotted like the second book. Anyway, so as for our story summary, Keiko Kurumiya is a Japanese American uh girl. I didn't write that in my script. Um, and she grew up in the United States. Her dad is from Japan and the only child to his to her dad's parents, grandparents. I don't This script is not well written. So leaving off from what I was saying before, her dad is the only child of her grandparents, and his parents expected they'd live in Japan to like care for them, but like somehow he managed to get away with not doing that. But Mr. Kurumiya agreed with his parents he'd come back eventually so Keiko could know more about her culture and everything. Um, Her parents kept putting off this move to Japan for so long that eventually Keiko's already a sophomore in high school, and finally her parents were like, "We need to move to Japan before my parents get angrier." Except that's probably more what something Keiko's dad would say. Um, and they're so conflicted on whether to actually tell her that, oops, it's also almost time to move. So on her spring break, in between school, they're like, we're moving in a couple of days. So understandably, Keiko is very upset. And she spends the last few days in America hanging out with her friends and everything, da da da. And when Keiko leaves, their last meetup is very sad. And Keiko and her friends are all crying and they're tearful. Then they get to Japan, they settle in, and Keiko befriends the kid across the street, Minato, and another girl in their class when school for them finally starts. Hotene. God, why did I mess it up? Hotene is like very easy to pronounce. Anyway, eventually though, Keiko and Minato encounter Kuchisake Onna, which if you don't know, she's that slit-mouthed woman you may have heard. She cuts people. She cuts people's mouths so they look like her. If like she'll ask them, "Do you think I'm pretty?" And if they say yeah, I think they cut her mouth. Wow, that's very epic of me to not know the story of the urban legend yokai I'm supposed to be writing about. That's not very good. That's not very good. Not very good. Anyway, where did I leave off? Oh yeah, okay, so in the town that Keiko moved to, there's been a lot of yokai, and it's enough yokai that Keiko is like, let's investigate this, while Minato, being the voice of reason, is like, let's not. But somehow, though, Keiko convinces him to help, and they also meet a Tenko named Naoko, which is like a kitsune, but heavenly and not evil. I'm not gonna be surprised if I check the Keiko Kurumiya story and read it and be like, oh wait, no, it's not a Tenko because I I when I was like writing the story, I couldn't decide if I wanted Naoko to be like a Tenko or a Zenko or something else. But that's besides the point. Tenko, if I got the right thing, are like they're like Kitsune, but heavenly and not evil. And also, um, what I used to look this up, it had a picture of like a Kitsu or a Tenko that's like humanoid, but like I don't know. I 10 out of 10 stuff for me. Um and also they meet a Kuchisake Onna, which side note, they're kind of like a species in this story who talks to them, and usually just a Kuchisake Onna pretty much says like, "Do you think I'm pretty?" She doesn't really say anything for like a Kuchisake Onna to like walk up to and be like, "Hey, how are you doing?" That's like really weird, and it's like, are you actually a Kuchisake Onna, or are you like a cosplayer or something? So, Keiko and Mino are like running around with the help of Naoko to find out, well, what's with all the yokai in town lately, and why the one girl or Kuchisake Onna talked to them, and that's the plot of the story. Um, Okay, now time for the last project. This last one, I must warn you, it is a huge work in progress. I do have a plot in mind, but I'm actually gonna keep most of the plot to myself for the time being because I feel like if I tell you the plot, it spoils something. So you're just gonna have to wait. Yeah. I haven't quite figured out the roles of all the characters because currently what I'm thinking is like all the characters I'll design, like I'll design a bunch of characters and I'll figure out where they fall in later on. Um, but this last project, it'll be a comic. My first few stories, Kingdoms, is gonna be a self-published book. Keigo Kuromiya is like an online free-to-read book, while Cosmic Representations would be a webcomic slash graphic novel. And it is called Cosmic Representations. The cosmic representations are a group of people that represent cosmic objects like our very own planet Earth, or more abstract things such as like the Kuiper Belt or the inner solar system, stuff like that. There can only be one representation of anything at any given time, so like there can only be one living and currently active cosmic representation of the Earth, right? Cosmic representations kind of resemble their cosmic object color wise. So, again, with my Earth example, the girl that represents the Earth, she has green and blue on her skin and her hair and her eyes. Well, her eyes don't have to resemble the Earth, but it's Earth colored. Sometimes for a variety of complex reasons, like this one guy. Oh my god, brain fart. But they don't always have to share the same colors. Like, for example, I have this one character who represents the Milky Way. I haven't really thought of his design yet, but I know for sure he will not really have the colors because he was a born cosmic representation. And born cosmic representations, and by born I mean like when like someone gives birth to you, that's like not how it usually goes. Usually you're just kind of spawned. Like, when you're playing Minecraft and you just place an egg down, that's kind of what happens for most cosmic representations. As the guy that represents the Milky Way, he was born, and so he has traits of his parents and not just traits to resemble the Milky Way. I don't know if that makes sense. Cosmic representations, they all have their own individual tasks that they have to do for their cosmic object, but they're all supposed to protect their cosmic object. And so, and like there's a whole hierarchy and stuff. And since this is still a very big work in progress, maybe this project will be when you get to see the most work done on this channel. So if you guys would like to see me design characters for it, because all the characters I've like done designs they're mostly just concepts. I'm only drawing like the one character, and by the one, it's the Earth Girl representation. I'm still working on her design, but it's the only design I really have figured out. Most are still a work in progress.
So in the time it took for me to actually sit down and record and then get back to actually editing this, because I recorded this a little bit in advance so I could have stuff done, and then when I had the time I could actually put the visuals and the actual editing. I've ended up creating yet another series. I only listen, I know I kind of have a problem of already having a lot, because doing just these three and juggling them is already a lot. But I decided so basically, long story short is that I want to be a storyboard artist in the future. I mean, the more ideal thing is I get to do YouTube and be more of my own boss, but I don't know if if I worked for someone else, it has to be art. It has to be art. No two ways about that. Okay. Um, and mainly I want to do like character design and storyboarding. And for my portfolio, I'd like to like when I can actually do that, like sit down, have like a storyboard and like actual character designs. The character design part, I might be fine on that aspect, but storyboarding, definitely not, because I don't know anything about it yet. So I decided, okay, you know what? Let's take one of my old series, so I don't have to do as much brain power. Let's take an old story or series I made, reboot it, and then I can make a script for that and like concepts and all that. I can make a script, make concepts, all of that, turn it into a storyboard for my portfolio to show that yes, I can storyboard. Um and this little thingy is called Hybrid High. It's set in the Kingdoms universe actually, but it will be like very different. Like the current like plot or like story summary, I guess, is like basically our protagonist Winter White is in a family that is struggling to get by despite her and like two of her other siblings like and her mom also all working and contributing money to like pay for food bills, etc., etc. Still struggling. And the main protagonist has been wanting to go to like Hybrid High, which is like very rich elite school in her kingdom. They live in the Gray Kingdom of kingdoms. Yeah, they're from Gray, which is like Hawaii inspired. And like Winter wants to go to this like rich school stuff for hybrids because like it creates like really good like job opportunities and stuff. And like a lot of the people that like graduate, good majority of them like end up like going well in life. So that's why she wants to go there and like have better schooling. And so like she's been trying to get on scholarship there. And actually it's not just the high school. It is like a district thing. Definitely has like an elementary, middle school also. Maybe has like a pre-K and its own college too, but I'm not sure about that. Still a work in progress. Even more so than cosmic representations. I have actually like thought more about it since this was last recorded. This one still needs a lot of work. But basically, Winter White, she's been applying to get this scholarship. She's a junior. Time is kind of sort of running out, but like, you know, she still keeps like applying for scholarships. So like eventually, um so the pilot will basically be like, "Congrats, you're accepted." And she's like, "Yay." And then her siblings like, "Well, we got to go buy uniforms and do all this stuff." And she's like, "Oh, shoot." Um but then they managed to get all that stuff done, right? And then now time for the real part. Winter White has got to go through this school who's like, "Oh, that poor girl. She has never felt the touch of a Gucci purse in her hand. So sad." It's kind of meant to be like ridiculous. Like Winter's like, "My God, what the heck is up with you people?" It's yeah, it's kind of meant to be a little weird on that front. But basically, now Winter and her siblings, because like also the scholarship thing, like if you have siblings, if just you apply, you are also sort of applying on behalf of your siblings, and like yeah, like only like 10 scholarships are accepted every year, but like that also includes siblings. So basically, her and her three other siblings all get to go to this school, and Winter has to navigate being in this new school and also actually balancing her jobs after school, but also actually having a friend for once, which she hasn't really had because she's so busy. like working. She does not really have the time for friendships. All she has time for is paying bills and working and working and working and like occasionally homework, but mostly working and trying to stay alive. There's a lot more to it. It is like kind of slice of lifey, but there's a lot more that is beneath the surface that I haven't even scratched yet. That you will learn maybe someday. I don't like the plan is to like make a storyboarded pilot. Maybe I'll pitch it to studios. Maybe I'll do like indie like Helva Boss. Or maybe it'll be like in a storyboarded style. Like Kalimara. Like Kalimara's like series Wildbird, which by the way you should check it out because I really like it. But like Kalimara's like Wildbird series, it's like sketchy. Like it's read like a story, but it has visuals kind of sort of it like a show or an indie series. I don't know. Those are like three possible routes I could go in the future, but I'm not ready to explore any of those. But I have like thought up of a bunch of different like episodes that I could potentially do. So yeah, that is Hybrid High, the Get fourth one. Um, I know like I already try to like keep myself contained. There's still like a bunch more other series and like old stuff I could reboot and make way better. But I'm holding myself back. I don't think after Hybrid High, I don't think there should be no reason for me to like pull out another old series and be like, "Hey guys, I'm doing something with this." I hope that these four will be the only ones you see for a couple of years. I hope. And yeah, that's Hybrid High.
And that is all the stories I can tell you for today. These aren't all the stories technically that well, they're all the ones that I'm working on in some form. Although Keiko Kurumiya is on hiatus, but I would work on it when I was in school, so when school starts for me in September, hopefully I'll work on it again. Because even if I'm not like obsessed with it like I am with Kingdoms and Cosmic Representations right now, I would like to finish it. I would very much like to finish it. I still have some stories that I would like to do in the future, but I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I want to hold myself back so these three stories can get finished at some point. Maybe when I'm maybe when I finish one of those three, I'll pick something else that I would like to bring to life. Take them out of the crypt, and I can do a little introduction for them. But for now, that's those three are enough. I hope those were interesting. I guess that's for all now. Bye, gamers!